Here is the narration in English, organized into paragraphs of approximately 15 lines each to make it easier for you to read or use in a teleprompter. Before we begin, subscribe to the channel to support Battle Archive and tell me in the comments where you are watching from. Before I tell you what happened at Hangar 18, you need to understand one thing. I didn't believe in any of this. Aliens, dimensions, invisible forces. It was all cheap science fiction to me. But in April 2024, I spent 11 weeks face-to-face with something that shouldn't exist. And I discovered that the most dangerous word in the universe isn't a threat. It's a question. Permission. My name is Captain James Reeves. 38 years old, 14 years of service in military intelligence, specializing in psychological operations and advanced interrogations. The kind of interrogation that doesn't make it into official reports. The kind that happens in windowless rooms, in facilities that don't exist on any map. I was stationed at Fort Bragg, living in a rented house with furniture left over from my marriage. Angela left me 2 years ago. She said she couldn't live with a ghost anymore. And that's what I had become after Emma died. Our daughter. 7 years old. Leukemia. After Emma, I stopped believing in a lot of things. God, justice, the idea that innocent children are protected. Everything dissolved. I grew up Catholic, went to Mass every Sunday with my grandmother in Boston. After Emma, I couldn't even look at a church without feeling rage. So, when the phone rang at 3:17 a.m. on April 3, 2024, I was already awake. Insomnia had been my companion since Emma's funeral. Captain Reeves, a voice said, no identification. You are being activated for immediate reassignment. Prepare for indefinite deployment. Full tactical gear. You have 2 hours. This is classified TS/SCI with cosmic clearance. Cosmic clearance. I had heard rumors about this level of classification. Above top secret. The kind of clearance that means you're dealing with things that could cause mass panic if they leaked. Confirmed, I said. A black SUV arrived exactly at 5:20 a.m. Windows so dark they looked like solid metal. After 15 minutes, the woman in the front seat turned and handed me a black hood. Put it on. Under the hood, I completely lost my sense of direction. I felt the SUV turn several times. At some point, we stopped. I heard the distinctive sound of a cargo aircraft. The flight lasted hours. When we landed, by the heat and the particular quality of the silence, I knew we were in the desert. Probably Nevada or New Mexico. Another hour of driving, mostly underground by the echo of the sound. Then the vehicle stopped and someone finally removed the hood. The light was harsh, clinical. We were in what looked like an underground parking structure, but wrong. Too clean. Too modern. Too expensive for government work. The walls were made of some kind of polished black material that seemed to absorb light. The ceiling was at least 30 feet high. And there were cameras everywhere, small red lights flashing in systematic patterns. A man in his 50s approached. Tall, gray hair, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my car. Captain Reeves, he said, without offering a handshake. I am Director Thomas Kane. You will follow me. Standard operational security applies. Do not speak unless spoken to. Do not ask questions. Do not look at anything twice. Are we clear? Crystal clear, sir. We went through a security checkpoint that made the TSA look like a joke. Retinal scan, fingerprints, full body scanner, DNA collection. We descended through a series of corridors deeper underground. The temperature dropped noticeably with each level. We passed rooms with frosted glass windows. Behind one of them, I heard something that made every nerve in my body fire at once. It wasn't exactly human. It wasn't exactly animal. It was something in between. Something fundamentally wrong. We stopped in front of a heavy glass door. Kane placed his hand on a biometric scanner, then turned to look at me. Captain, what you are about to see will challenge your understanding of reality, he said. You were selected because your psychological profile indicates high resistance to cognitive stress. You have also experienced significant personal trauma, which paradoxically makes you more stable. You also have no current religious affiliation. This makes you safer for this than someone with strong faith. We've had incidents with the devoutly religious. My stomach tightened. What kind of incidents? The kind where people have complete psychological breakdowns, Kane said categorically. The kind where chaplains walk out of this facility and can no longer pray. The kind where belief systems collapse under the weight of what they've seen. The door opened with a hiss. When you cross this threshold, Captain, your life divides into before and after. There is no going back to the before. Do you understand? The room was circular, maybe 50 feet in diameter, with a domed ceiling that curved up into the shadows. but I registered all of that only peripherally. Because in the center of the room was a cylindrical field of shimmering blue energy, about 15 feet high and 8 feet wide. And inside that field, suspended a few feet off the floor, was something that made my brain skip like a scratched record. It wasn't human. It was roughly humanoid. 2 arms, 2 legs, a head-like structure. But the proportions were wrong in a way that triggered every uncanny valley instinct I had. The limbs were too long, jointed in too many places. The skin shifted between textures, sometimes smooth like obsidian, sometimes rough like stone, sometimes almost transparent, where you could see things moving underneath. The head was too large. The face had features that suggested a face, 2 eyes, something like a nose, a mouth, but arranged just wrong enough to turn my stomach. And the eyes. God, the eyes were the worst part. They were massive, taking up maybe a third of the face. And they were completely black. Not like ink. Like space. Like looking into a well that went down forever. And those eyes were looking directly at me. My knees began to give way. Kane was beside me. Captain Reeves, meet Subject Zeta. We need you to make it talk. They took me to a briefing room adjacent to the containment chamber. A 3-star general began. Captain Reeves, the entity you just saw has been in our custody for 11 weeks. In that time, it has spoken exactly 73 words. All of them insults or refusals to cooperate. One of the scientists cut in. The entity displays capabilities that violate known physics. It can manipulate electromagnetic fields through what appears to be thought alone. It doesn't eat, doesn't drink, shows no need for sleep. Kane took over. 11 weeks ago, there was an incident at a research facility in Utah. Classified above your clearance. The short version, we were conducting experiments with high-energy particle physics, trying to probe the fabric of space-time. Something went wrong. Or right, depending on your perspective. We created an opening. A door. And something came through. He gestured toward the containment chamber. That thing, along with 2 others. The other 2 died within hours. This one adapted. The general leaned forward. Captain, your record shows exceptional success in extracting information from reluctant subjects. 96% success rate. You've broken trained enemy combatants, intelligence officers. But more importantly, your psychological profile indicates high tolerance for existential shock. I went back to the containment room. I approached the field. Up close, I could feel the static electricity making the hair on my arms stand up. I'm Captain James Reeves. I'm here to talk to you. Nothing. I tried again. I understand you haven't been cooperating with my colleagues. I hope we can change that. Still nothing. So I pulled up a chair and sat directly in front of the containment field. If it wanted to play the silence game, I was trained by the best. The minutes turned into an hour. But in the back of my mind, a thought formed. This thing is old. Very, very old. And it thinks we are nothing. That thought made me angry. I leaned forward. You know what? You're right. We're probably primitive compared to you. But you're the one in the cage, and I'm the one with the key. So maybe you're not as superior as you think. For the first time, it spoke. The mouth didn't move right. The words seemed to form in the air itself, resonating at frequencies I felt in my chest. The cage is an illusion to make you feel safe. I am here because I choose to be. When I choose to leave, I will leave. Every screen in the room flickered. The lights dimmed. But I couldn't look away because, for the first time since Emma died, I felt something other than numbness. I felt absolute terror. And somehow, that made me feel alive. I spent hours trying different approaches. Empathy, confrontation, strategic silence. The entity responded with philosophical contempt, talking about dimensions, frequencies, about how insignificant we were. But then, in an attempt to understand its presence here, I asked the question, why don't you leave? If you can leave whenever you want, why stay? The entity remained still for a long moment. Then it said something that changed everything. Because I do not have permission. I felt every cell in my body freeze. Permission? I repeated. Permission from whom? The thing shuddered. Truly shuddered. And for the first time, I saw something that looked like fear in those bottomless eyes. From the only one who can grant or deny entry into your dimensions. From the only name that has authority over all realms. From the one who broke the rules. My mind raced. Are you saying you need permission to operate here? From God? The entity recoiled as if I had struck it. Do not speak that name. The voice echoed in frequencies that made all the lights flash. Not the name of the Creator. The other name. The name of the anomaly. The one who did the impossible. And then, without thinking, I said it. Just an expression I had said 1,000 times without thought: Jesus Christ. The reaction was immediate and violent. The entity recoiled as if I had electrocuted it, slamming against the opposite side of the containment field. The lights in the room exploded, glass falling like rain. The containment field wavered, flickering like a failing projection. For a heart-stopping second, it disappeared completely. All the facility's alarms began to sound. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in red. The entity was no longer floating calmly. It was thrashing, limbs moving in ways that defied anatomy. And that voice was making a sound I had never heard before. Not words. Just a noise that vibrated in my chest and made my teeth ache. The field flickered back, stronger. The entity slammed against it, electricity coursing through its body. But it wasn't trying to get out. It was trying to get away from me. To get away from something. Finally, the thing collapsed at the bottom of the cylinder, curled into something almost like a fetal position. Kane grabbed me. "Reeves, we're evacuating." But I couldn't move because I was looking at the entity. And the entity was looking back at me. And for the first time since I set eyes on it, I saw something I recognized. Fear. Real, genuine, primal fear. The entity took a long time before responding. When it did, its voice was different. Smaller, almost broken. "You invoked a name. The name. The only name that has power over us. The name we fear above all others." The thing was trembling. When he came to your world and did what should have been impossible. When he died but did not die. When he returned and shattered the order of dimensions. We felt it. All of us, through every reality. A shockwave of something we thought was extinct. Pure. Uncorrupted. Absolute. Love. He created a frequency of pure love so powerful it tore barriers between worlds. And it hurt us. It still hurts us because we are not love. We are its opposite, its absence. And when his name is spoken with any strength, any intention, even casually, it resonates. It burns. The entity looked at me with those bottomless eyes. "You stumbled upon the only weapon your species has that can truly hurt us. Not your nuclear weapons. Not your technology. A name. A single name. The name of the one who should not have existed. The one who changed the rules. The one who won." I realized something fundamental in that moment. These entities, these beings that claim to be superior, did not operate freely. They needed permission. Permission to enter. Permission to influence. Permission to act. And the only thing that could deny that permission was the name they feared to speak. In the following days, the entity revealed more. Not out of kindness, but because the damage was already done. I knew too much. "You humans exist at the intersection point," it said. "You are three-dimensional consciousness capable of perceiving and aligning with higher dimensions. You are the contested territory. Every human life is a micro-conflict in this war. Every choice you make toward love or fear, toward connection or isolation, tilts the frequency of your consciousness in one direction or another. We try to tilt you toward lower frequencies. We whisper doubts, amplify fears, encourage isolation. We operate through thoughts you believe are your own. We are subtle. We are patient." The entity leaned forward. "The other side operates differently. They try to strengthen connection, amplify love, encourage hope. And you stand in the middle of this invisible war, pulled in both directions, usually unaware that the battle is even happening." I stood up. "How do we fight? If we can't see the battle, how do we resist?" The entity's smile widened. "You already know the answer. The name. The frequency. The alignment with the anomaly. When you invoke his designation with genuine intention, with faith, you create a shield. A counter-frequency that disrupts our influence. That is why we hate the name." My voice trembled when I asked, "My daughter, Emma. Where is she?" The entity looked at me for a long moment. "I know she died suddenly. That her last thought was of you, hoping you would be okay. I know her consciousness transitioned cleanly. Where she is now, I cannot perceive directly because it exists in a frequency I cannot access. But I can tell you this, she is not in the place where we dwell. She is not in the darkness. She is not in the absence. Which means she is in the light. Which means she is in the presence. Which means, by the logic of what I told you, she is with him." I couldn't stop the tears. They just came, hot and sudden. 3 years of grief breaking through. 3 weeks after that day, the facility suffered a breach. More entities manifested. There was an emergency evacuation. Director Kane got me out of there, gave me the keys to a jeep, and said, "Go. Take this information out. Tell people what you learned." I've been on the run ever since. Living in cheap motels, paying in cash, always moving. But I needed time. Time to process what I learned. Time to record this testimony. Time to make copies and hide them in places where they will be found if I disappear. So here is what you need to know. The war is real. The entities are real. They are not aliens from other planets. They are beings from adjacent dimensions. They have been here since before humanity existed. They are what your ancestors called demons, angels, gods, spirits. They can influence your thoughts, your feelings, your choices. They operate through what you think are your own impulses. Your governments know about them. Your leaders have been making deals with them. But here is the most important truth: we have already won. 2,000 years ago, Jesus Christ, who was the fundamental consciousness of reality made flesh, broke the system. He demonstrated that death is not the end. That consciousness survives. That love is more fundamental than fear. And his name carries power. Real, measurable, physical power that can interrupt their influence. These entities need permission to operate. And the only thing that can deny that permission is the name they fear to speak. When you say the name Jesus Christ with faith, with intention, you create a shield. This is not superstition. It is physics operating at dimensional levels we don't yet fully understand. Faith is not weakness. It is warfare. Here is what you need to do: wake up. Understand that you are in a war you cannot see. Every dark thought, every impulse toward isolation, ask yourself if it is truly yours. And when you feel it, when you recognize the touch of entities trying to pull you into lower frequencies, speak the name. Jesus Christ. Say it with intention. With faith. With the choice to align yourself with the frequency those entities fear most. The frequency of love. Of presence. Of consciousness connected to the base pattern that creates reality itself. I am uploading this now to encrypted servers, to blockchain storage, to places they cannot easily erase. They are coming after me. I can feel it. But if this message reached you, then I succeeded. Emma, if somehow you can hear this from where you are, I am coming. I am choosing the frequency. I am choosing love over fear. I am choosing connection over isolation. I am choosing to see you again. To everyone else, the war is real. The name has power. Choose wisely. Choose quickly. Because time is shorter than you think. And eternity, real eternity, not the metaphor, depends on the choices you make right now. Captain James Reeves, April 24, 2024. Location unknown. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your like. And share this truth. The war is real. And you need to choose your side.